What's going on, YouTube? We got some horror stuff today. We are talking Dracula, so let's just go right into Dracula.
Behold, my stuff.
Thanks for joining us. Really, I haven't done a lot of my other horror stuff. To be honest with you, it's just not something that I've really made a video about. Really, the only horror stuff I've done on here is Evil Dead. But like most horror fans, I got into horror through classic Universal monsters. And so, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy. Brendan Fraser's Mummy was very big when I was a kid, not so much the Boris Karloff era, but Wolfman had come and gone. Underworld was very big. So, like, when you talk about Dracula, you really kind of think back to, like, Bela Lugosi and stuff like that. But one of the guys who portrayed Dracula for a long time was actually Sir Christopher Lee. And Christopher Lee, in the Hammer films, played Dracula more times than Bela Lugosi. He's just not remembered as, like, a definitive Dracula, which is kind of weird, considering how long he did it. But the definitive Van Helsing from his films is remembered as the definitive Van Helsing. So I always kind of wondered what that was about. But Christopher Lee's Dracula definitely stands out as, like, sort of that epitome of creepy but gentlemanly. Still very much that sort of style that Bela had established in the early film. Several people had played him after that, and eventually we got to Christopher. And then really it was Frank Langella in 1979 and 78 on Broadway. His portrayal of Dracula changed the entire perspective of Dracula. Dracula was always viewed as sort of a crusty old British dude, which is weird because he's playing a Transylvanian, but British dude who's gentlemanly and sort of like entrances women with power with his eyes, but not overly attractive, really. And so he sort of uses magic to make women dig him, where, like, Frank was sort of, well, what if he was just charming and good looking? So they cast a 6'4", tan, brown-eyed Italian from Bayonne, and, like, not the Dracula that people thought about. And he was a sexy Dracula. So, like, Frank Langella's portrayal sort of was the thing that made vampires sexy. And then with that sort of ushered in the idea about, like, Interview with the Vampire and things like that, where we had sexy vampires. And that sort of has carried on through the modern, I don't know, zeitgeist, I guess. But so vampires have pretty much been sexy since Frank Langella. And so we do sort of forget a little bit of what Dracula started as. We did get a sort of like a hybrid of that with Bram Stoker's Dracula starring Gary Oldman, which was just very bizarre, not really following the book much in that sense. It was sort of a weird, like, we had the creepy old dusty British dude, but then we had the young sexy guy, and we sort of combined the two elements, and sort of it was like an homage to all the great Dracula, but it also made him canonically Vlad the Impaler, which makes no sense at all. So there's that. And so there's just, there was that, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of people have forgotten Dracula. And it was really Renfield with Nicolas Cage that I think sort of brought a lot of that back. So let's talk some Dracula props. This I've gone over before, but this is, of course, Dracula's signet ring. And it's a really, if you're going to say that there's a definitive Dracula piece, it is this ring. And it is a lineage piece, and QMX has posted their acquisition and the history, and it's so long it could be its own damn video. And there are videos on it, but the long and short of it is, this goes back all the way to really the first appearances of Dracula. Bela Lugosi himself did not wear this in the first Dracula. That was a very simple, like, black ring. It wasn't anything too special. And that ring's been lost, unfortunately. No one knows what happened to that. But this is kind of the one that people know. It appeared in the Abbott and Costello films. It was later cast and reused in the Christopher Lee films. Lon Chaney Jr. wore it. There was all these different... Actually, Bela did wear this at one point. Was that during the Abbott and Costello? It might have been then. But so many Draculas have worn this ring, and I'd have to go back to my notes to really understand the full lineage, but This has been attempted to be replicated. There have been people saying that they had the real one when they didn't, or they had a casting of the real one when they didn't. And there's a lot of discrepancies and things like that. The person who had it in his collection, who is the source of a lot of these castings, these official ones that you can buy and things that have been reworked and helped. And the long and short is that this is the ring, and this is Dracula's ring. It is a lineage ring. And like I said, Christopher Lee actually did wear this ring, but it was a pure pewter cast, and in some cases it was brass, I think, not even pewter, but it had no enamel or anything like that. And so that was the ring that Christopher used. It was a casting of that original ring, and that's the ring that appears in his film. So this has a link up to both iconic Draculas. And so this was the only one that I was really interested in getting. And then this guy right here, Trick or Treat Studios put out. And they put out some gems every once in a while. This is a purely new sculpt. This is not a lineage piece, but this is, to the best of their research ability, the recreation of Bela Lugosi's famous pendant from his film. And it's really, really nice. It's really, really cheap. And I picked it up because I was like, yeah, that would look cool if I like displayed them together or whatever, because I really love the ornature. Now, some people have claimed that they have a lineage casting of this. That's not confirmed. And I've done my best to get everybody who really collects and catalogs these pieces to confirm the claimed lineage of some of these pieces. It's not. So I was hesitant to buy anything that was a poor casting that claimed to be lineage when we don't know that it's lineage or not. So I was totally fine with using the Trick or Treat Studios one. But in terms of lineage, I did get my hands on something lineage, and I am actually really, really kind of excited about it, because around my neck is a lineage casting of Sir Christopher Lee's cape clasp. And so it was the dumbest prop. So what a lot of people don't know is that, and the gentleman who got this to me brought me up to speed on this, when they created these for the Christopher Lee films, there was nothing written in the castings. They just simply were blank. They went in and hand etched the name Dracula into them for the film. So they didn't cast them with the etching into it. So any lineage pieces that people have from the original are going to be blank, which would make that the direct production casting of what that was. But the etching of the name was not done in the mold. So this was added in post. This is to the best of their ability to make it look screen accurate, but it was done in post. And it's so stupid because it's this big giant cape clasp and it says Dracula on it. And it's like, it wouldn't even spell it that way if he was actually Dracula. So that always kind of cracked me up. But, you know, that was the fun of it, right? So, because now this ring also does have a link up to the Christopher Lee, I'm going to do some kind of a display with the three of these things. But that is really kind of interesting. So let me take this off. The chain was included for me by the gentleman who did this for me. I really appreciated it, although he did use silver rings to link the gold chain, which drives me insane, and I think he did that to me to piss me off on purpose because he knows that shit drives me nuts. But it's just a resin casting with some what looks like it was pigment powder as part of the mold. It could just be painted, I don't know, but it shines nice, it catches the light, I dig it. And then this is, of course, the all metal, which is painted still, casting from Trick or Treat. And so you kind of see there's a very discrepancy. Like, this is far more detailed because it's machine made versus this, which has that hand quality look, which I really liked. The sculpt is really good, the detailing is really good. I do like it a lot, and so it does have that charm from that era, and then it displays with the ring. And so these are all going to display in some way, shape, or form for a Dracula display that I'm going to do. And yeah, I think that if you're a Dracula fan, then you want to have pieces like this. Trick or Treat Studios does actually have a really good cape, but I don't even know where I would display a cape, let alone, you know, I don't collect capes, so it's not something that I plan on getting at any point in time. This is about the best that I'm going to do with these. So I don't see myself getting much more Dracula beyond this. If somebody ever found Bela's original ring, I would be very interested in the casting of that or something. But for now, I think this is the best we're going to get. So these three items from Dracula, pretty cool. And, you know, like I said, we got Christopher Lee era, Bela Lugosi era, and kind of all the different Dracula era. It's all over the joint. So, like I said, I think Bela did actually wear this ring at one point. Lon Chaney Jr. wore it. Christopher wore a casting of it. So a lot of different Draculas have encountered it. And yeah, you can look up the lineage of that ring. It's very, very known, and lots of arguments online about it. So uh, as with all props, you know, I just think that the detail on the ring is phenomenal. But really, the Trick or Treat one, they did a really good job with that. It's really, really nice. So yeah, so these are out and about now, so if you can check them out, and if you find one, pick one up. And if you're curious about its authenticity, you can hit me up, and I can let you know if that's who you should get it from or not. But yeah, so thanks for checking this video out. Thanks for checking out stuff about horror. Hopefully we will have some more horror stuff in the future coming for you. But till then, if you can't build it, buy it. If you can't buy it, build it. And sometimes if you do both, it works out for you.